All right. I believe we are live. Hey everyone, my name is Trevor Daly with MagMod, and I'm excited to be with you today. We're doing another How I Shot It. And this week, I'm doing my How I Shot It with Ellie Burgueño
right.
Chico. So, Ellie, thanks so much for joining me.
Hello, guys.
I am excited. Actually, Ellie, I gotta say, right before I said, "Are you ready to go live?" Ellie's like, "Wait, can I?" Actually, maybe I should. You're like, I'm getting nervous. I love it. It was so fun. No, but Ellie, hey, I'm so excited that you're here with me, and I really appreciate you taking the time. I've been excited to see your work lately in the MagMod community. In fact, that's actually where you caught my eye. Was you were posting in the MagMod community on Facebook, and I was like, "Who is this person? These photos are amazing." And then I kept seeing your name pop up on these How I Shot It. Like you would actually be listening in, you'd comment, and you really caught my eye in that sense. And so I'm excited to finally get you here so we can show off some of your work and you get to be part of one of these How I Shot It. So thank you again for joining
Awesome.
me.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So Ellie, can you tell everyone where you're based out of?
So, hi, guys. I am out of Riverside, California, and pretty much I live in the arts center of Riverside. So it's a playground for me. Every little corner, there's something amazing to shoot at.
That's awesome. What kind of photography do you normally do?
I do well, I specialize in weddings. But right
Okay.
now, anything that comes along the way, I'm happy to shoot it. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, I get it. Right now, I mean, the fact that weddings are so difficult, and especially in California, I mean, you're in one of those areas that it seems like out of everywhere in the country, California has the strictest, you know, rules and things. So my heart goes out to you. It's got to be difficult, but
Yeah.
you
We're
still,
hanging on though.
yeah. Well, and you know what's fun is I hate to use the cliche that turn lemons into lemonade, but I've seen the photographs that you've been doing and stuff. Some of them where it looks like you were just even in your house. In fact, the first one we talk about, we'll show that one. But you really have done some incredible things. And so, is there actually, maybe this is kind of an off question, but is there any little tips that you'd give anyone that maybe is struggling right now? That doesn't feel like they have any wedding shoots and stuff, how they can practice or how they can do things?
Well, actually, yes, having to stay home nowadays, to keep you, in the mix of doing your photography, I keep myself busy doing a lot of macro photography. And that's kind of how, I got some of these images lately, and they're very entertaining, and it's a project, but they're so much fun
That's
and
awesome.
it
So
keeps you
macro
busy.
photography, what lens are you using for macro photography?
I have the Canon 100 macro, and then I'm also using the 24 millimeter.
Right on. That's awesome. Well, Ellie, I'm excited to show people some of those images, but before we do jump into that, let's go to I'm going to share my screen real quick and I want to go and show them your Instagram and your website. So let me jump off here because I want to make sure everybody knows where to find you. So guys, let's see. Ellie, you can see that right now, right?
Yes.
Awesome. So everybody, here is Ellie's Instagram page. So go check her out. Ellie Burgueño Photography. I love it. You got so many beautiful things. In fact, I see a few photos in here that we're going to be talking about. So definitely go give her a follow. And then here is her website as well. It's Ellie Burgueño Photography as well. So awesome stuff. Beautiful. I love when I click on signature photography, there's so many beautiful photos in here, Ellie. You really got cool work. And I love the mix. You have such a great mix of photos as well, which is
Thank
really
you.
cool.
Yeah, I'm nonstop. Every day I want to shoot something new.
Hey, that's that photography blood in you, right? I like it.
Yeah.
Um, and then Ellie, it's funny because I was telling you, I saw you online posting incredible photos, and I saw you in the How I Shot It. And then when we came online, and then I immediately I did recognize you that we had met at WPPI as well. Do you go to
Yes, we did.
conferences very often?
I'm sorry, say that again.
Do you go to a lot of photo conferences, or should I say, did you go to a lot of photo conferences?
Well, WPPI is really the only one that I've been going to.
Yeah.
Other than that, no, not really. Oh,
Oh,
there goes my.
okay. Hey, your light still looks fine.
Okay.
Awesome. Well, good deal. Well, Ellie, let's jump right into some of these photographs, okay?
Okay.
I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen. And this first image is actually, like I said, it's one that I think you posted maybe I don't know, 3, 4 days ago. And it's really, the MagMod community has really enjoyed it. And I think just because it's so creative and so different. So tell us about this shot.
So this is one of those shots that I was, just kind of going through some of the photography groups that I'm in, and I
Mhm.
came across one that was all staples, and it kind of have it was foggy, like a foggy night, and then the staples looked like buildings, and I was like, oh wow, that's pretty cool. Like I had to do a second take on it, like, oh, those are staples. Wow. And it was early in the morning. So I was like, okay, I got my inspiration for today. It's on. And it just kind of rolled from there. I went into the garage, got into my husband's toolboxes and whatnot, and I found a bunch
Yeah,
of, cool stuff to make this.
that's awesome. And so now you did the staples. Now, what did you use to light this?
So I used the an 8200 with the MAGSPHERE.
Uh-huh.
That was it for this.
Was it
For
just one light?
I'm sorry.
Was it just one light, or did you have two lights on it?
For this one, it was just one light.
Okay.
Yeah, just to the left, up high, and I was, yeah, yeah, it was one light with this one.
That's awesome. It now you did this one, and then you kind of did a series of them, right? Because I saw this other one that you posted, this one here as well. In fact, this
Yeah.
one, it reminds me a lot of New York with the World Trade Centers, the
It,
towers.
you know what? I've been getting that a lot, and when I was putting it together, it wasn't even a thought of it. It just kind of came together, and after I posted it, I was like, oh wow, this kind of signifies, 9/11, but well, we'll see
Yeah.
how it goes. But it
Yeah,
was
no,
definitely not on purpose. It just kind of happened that way.
no, I think it's a beautiful tribute. It kind of reminds me of that as well. And then what is the bottom? Is that editing, or is that some kind of table that you shot on?
No, actually, the bottom is a lake that I shot in Bryce Canyon recently, and I just kind of, played with it and kind of blended it in, and then I added a lot of extra little brushes of highlights and whatnot, and I added
Oh,
a
fun.
sky down there to give it that whole sparkly look,
Yeah.
and it came together. I usually don't plan these things; they just kind of start happening as I'm editing.
No, I love it, Ellie. Well, Ellie, the little glow behind it, was that done in Photoshop as well?
Yes, the flare. I added the flare
Uh-huh.
in this one.
Yeah, I love it. And but it's interesting though because the buildings actually the warmth coming from the flare actually looks like it reflects in the buildings as well. Did you happen to use any kind of CTO or like a gel on your mag sphere?
No, no, I didn't.
No? Okay.
Actually, it's a I think I might have used like a brush with the glow and kind of went over it to bring
Okay.
the gold out.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, Ellie, I have to say the one thing I do love about your work as well is, and you inspire me in this sense, is that I can tell that you put a lot into even the after portion. So after you're done shooting, then you take some time to really bring out certain aspects of your photograph through different styles of editing, which I'm looking forward to showing. In fact, one of the favorite photos that we're going to talk about, one of my favorite photos, is the last one, and what I love about it is the editing. So I hope people stay tuned and watch till the very end so they can see that photo as well.
Okay.
But this is really cool. I really enjoy this. And so are you going to do more of these little cityscapes?
So yeah, that's the plan. I want to actually have a book by the end of the year, and it's going to be like a once a month project because this was a project in itself, trying to not knock anything over and have a domino effect. Oh, it was just, it was a bit much. It was a little frustrating, but at the same time meditational because it kept me busy in the moment.
Sure. And I think that's the most important thing in difficult times like this is just to stay busy doing something, right?
Absolutely.
Um, so that's important. Awesome job. Well, I love those. So let's go on to this next image. And this is one that you actually just posted, I think, this morning, if I'm not mistaken, right?
I believe it was this morning, yes. Or was it
Yeah.
last
So
night? Yeah.
yeah. Well, and this image is beautiful. And I loved one thing that Justin Haugen had talked about how he loved in his comments on this image is he said that He loved how you put the light, right there on the dust and kind of the glowing. Anyhow, beautiful shot. Tell us about it. Tell us how you shot this.
So this whole session was based on this particular shot. It was a dirt kicking shoot. That's what I called it. That I wanted to get an amazing image, and I imagined, I needed the light to be really low. So I had an 8200 with a CTO on it, on the ground. So literally, it's just barely facing, on the ground, facing up just a little bit. We put together a little pile of dirt. So as she's walking, she was able to kick it, and I was able to take the shot. And at the same time, the light coming through the dirt. So this was actually the first shot that I took. I did about 15 of them, thinking like, okay, I better get more just in case. But it turns out that the first one was the best one.
Always like that, isn't it? It always seems like that, especially, I mean, even when you're doing anything like designing logos or something, you'll design one and you're like, oh, I nailed it. And then you design 15 more and you always go back to that first one. So,
Yeah.
um, what I love about this too, though, is it's not just the light on the dirt and stuff, but the light on her is beautiful. Is that natural light on her? Or did you use a flash on her?
So this is what happened. Sometimes you get busy packing everything up, your gear and everything, you're ready to go. And when you get to the session, I was missing my MAGSPHEREs. Now that I think about it, I'm like, oh my gosh, I forgot them. So this is bare 8200, just
Nice.
shooting at her.
No, but it looks like it's I'm trying to think. It looks like it's to the right though. So I imagine it was off camera and it looks like it was maybe
Yes,
more that direction.
it
Because I'm
was.
just looking at the shadow. Oh, go ahead.
So yeah, the 8200 that was lighting her is to the right of the camera. And I
Uh-huh.
think that shadow is from the 8200 behind her though, on the floor.
Yeah, yeah. The one on the floor, I was just noticing it's funny when I like to dissect images, I'll look for shadows like even just on their arms. And I just noticed on the sleeve of her right arm, you can just see a little slight shadow
Oh,
in the sleeve. And so that kind of tells me the direction of light is coming from over here, which happens to be one of my favorite styles of lighting because it always gives this nice kind of light on the face, but then you get this nice fall off behind. Um, so beautiful job. So you used two. You used one bare 8200 lighting her to the right of the camera, and then one on the ground behind her. And did you use a gel on the one behind her, or was it just the mag sphere?
it was a CTO.
Oh, CTO.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
very cool.
And
I mean,
then,
and I love even the setting. Like she looks like she's in like a old western town or something.
well, yeah, we took a little drive to get to this place. It's called Pioneer Town. And
Mhm.
it's so funny because I looked online. I didn't see anywhere where you had to pay a fee to take pictures there, get a permit and all that. We're setting up in the actual area where the cool little houses are and everything. And they're like, no, you need to pay the fee, blah, blah, blah. And we're like, okay, whatever. So we just ended up doing this in the parking lot.
Nice, nice. I love it. Well, the background actually I love because it adds to it, the fence and everything else. But no, I'm glad you mentioned that though, because sometimes we'll mention like where we did it and people will go there thinking that anyone can shoot there. So it's good that you kind of gave everyone a forewarning as to what the rules are.
And then
Um,
Courtney, she's a great model. She follows directions so well and she's so lovely. I love working with her. Excuse me.
yeah, no problem. Well, big shout out to Courtney there. So Ellie, I wanted to make sure we talk about. It's funny you sent me like probably 20 absolutely amazing photographs, and I said, well, let me pick like 7 or 8 of these. And this one really caught my attention simply because one, people love ring shots, and two, I'm like trying to figure out is the gold smoky stringy effect, is that a light or is that post processing or what? So you got me puzzled. Tell me about this one.
Awesome. So basically, yes, it's twinkle lights. You roll them up, you turn them into a little ball, and then I put them on a little stick so that I can wave it over as I'm doing. It's a uh, long exposure is what I'm trying to say. It's a long exposure.
Yeah.
So basically, light painting. The ring is on top of a mirror, and I added water on it. So with the long exposure, I'm able to move the light around. It creates this whole kind of smoky, fiery effect.
That is so cool. I love that. So, and what did you use to light the ring on this one?
It was an 8200 as well. That's what I use.
Uh-huh.
With the MAGSPHERE.
The MAGSPHERE. Would you say
Yep.
the MAGSPHERE is kind of your go-to modifier? Is that the one that you use the most?
On non-windy days, yes.
I love it. I
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah,
Um,
the box catches too much wind and it's already tipped over on me twice. So
yeah, no, I get you. Sometimes it can be frustrating when you're using a larger modifier and it is windy outside. I will say one thing that I have done is I have taken just the diffuser panel off of the box, and sometimes and then I open the little zipper
uh-huh.
place where you put the gels in, and sometimes it just lets the wind flow through, and I don't get quite as much. But it's
Oh,
certainly better than an umbrella. But yeah, I get you. On a windy day, the MagSphere is clutch. So
yeah. Plus it's so
um,
portable, it's easy to use. I
yeah.
love MagMod.
Yeah, you know what I love doing with the MagSphere is I just love crunching it up and just putting it in my pocket, and it's like I don't know, it's just fun to be able to think that you can do that with a modifier. Hey Ellie, before we go on, I wanted to just mention a few people that were in the chat on YouTube. So if you are watching on YouTube, I'll open up the chat here, and you guys, if you have any questions, feel free to post those there, or if you want to mention where you're from or any of that kind of good stuff. And of course, if you know any places that where Ellie, where people can learn from Ellie, any other photography groups, feel free to share this. We got Sandra Estrada. She says, "Love the dirt kicking shot. It's so good." And she mentioned, she said, "That's my sister." So
That's right.
is Sandra? Is she
She's
your
an
sister? Like, oh, go ahead.
she's definitely my sister from another mister.
From another minister. I love it. I was
She's
gonna
an
say, is she like your
amazing,
brother from another mother? I love it.
yes, she's an amazing photographer herself as well.
That's cool. That's really cool. We got a few people saying hi. Shannon Kane says hi. Don Malone. She loves to shoot every day. That's what Don said.
That's my girl right
Gabrielle,
there too.
yeah, Don. And then Gabriel Gomez says saludos, sister. Armando Martinez says hi, Ellie. Greetings from El Paso. Let's see. Looking forward to this. Best wishes from Irvine, Scotland, UK. And then we got Pratik is saying hi from India. So
Oh wow.
appreciate all you guys joining and watching. So um, again, beautiful shot. So you used the little fairy lights. You did a long exposure. You put the MAGSPHERE on the 8200. You lit up the ring. And I imagine, did you use your macro lens on this again?
I did. Yes.
That's awesome. Really, really cool stuff, Ellie. Let's go on to this next photograph. Wow, this is so pretty. You got to tell me about this one.
So this is one of the amazing designers that I work with. Her name is Corinne Art Designs. And whenever she has a new design, she lets me photograph it for the first time. So it's kind of like a first look for her designs. And
That's
she makes
cool.
these amazing dresses.
Yeah, I mean, this one's stunning, and now you had to use a wide angle lens, of course, on this. What was the lens that you used for this one?
A 14 millimeter.
A 14 millimeter.
Yes.
That's stunning. And there's one other shot before we actually get into kind of the lighting and stuff on this. Let's show this one as well. And it looks like, was this one shot just before? I can't really tell. But super, super pretty. So tell us, did you light both of these the same?
Yes. This one I was using the mag box with 280 200s.
Okay, the mag box with 280 200s. Is there now? Do you use the 280 200s for maximum power to get as much flash on them, or do you normally just use it so you can use a lower power and get faster recycle times? Is
That's
there?
exactly what it. Yes, that's it. I
Okay.
find that going lower on the settings, I'm able to go faster as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, absolutely. That's one of my favorite things. When I'm not using my other flash, I always pop it in there and get that two flashes just so that I can use them at lower powers and be able to shoot much quicker without waiting for that flash to recycle.
Mhm.
So you said you use the mag box for this?
Yes.
Beautiful.
When,
And
yep.
how close was your mag box, Ellie? Do you remember? Like, did you have to?
I believe this. It was on the camera right,
Uh-huh.
because I always tend to point the light at the subject because I want to light her up before anything, and then everything else that I light up is probably in post.
Yeah. No,
Just
it's
to kind of
amazing.
match.
Do you remember, did you have to Photoshop the mag box out, or was it just off camera just a little bit?
It was off camera just a little bit.
Okay,
Yeah, I didn't
awesome.
even have to. Yeah.
I know sometimes with those wide angle lenses, like the 14, for example, you'll get in there and it catches so much that you have to move your lights further back just to be able to get them all in. Um, but
For
stunning
this
shot.
one, yeah, for this one, I might have gone a little bit higher power to put the mag box a little bit back because of the wide angle.
Yeah, stunning. So it was just the one light then, huh?
Yes, one light.
Stunning, beautiful. Now, as I'm curious, Ellie, because I've always wanted to do this and I haven't done it very much. Do you do sky swapping? Do you ever
I
get into
do.
that?
I do. If I don't have any clouds, I'm adding clouds. That's just bottom line.
No,
Yes,
I love it.
I have a file of clouds. I go out shooting clouds just to have them.
Yeah. No, that's really cool. What is there a particular software that you like to use for that?
You know what? Some of these are just some that I've bought, like
Okay.
overlays. But I find that my own clouds that I take are more I don't know, personal, you know?
Yeah, 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 for sure. Because I've been looking at doing more, like taking some of my favorite images, and if the sky isn't as beautiful as I wish it were, I thought about going in there and actually swapping some things out. I know Photoshop now, in the latest version of Photoshop, they actually
Hmm.
have the ability to do it. And I think there's a software called Luminar, if I'm not mistaken. Um,
I've never
but
used that.
never used that one.
No.
It certainly, I love it, and I think as a photographer, I mean, we are artists, and our job is to make art. And so I think if you need to add something into your image to create that art, then all power to you. I think it's beautiful. So
Thank you. Yeah, you'll see a lot of my images have clouds. And, I'd say a good 75% of them are the real deal, though.
yeah,
So now it's kind of hard to tell because there's so many great, the Photoshop sky overlay thing that they do now. It's pretty good.
yeah. No, no, that's so true. And it is cool when you can actually have your portfolio where you have, a mix of everything where you can't even tell the difference between one from the next because, and that's really what you want is you want to be able to do those clouds where it's almost like you can't tell. Um, but awesome, awesome job. I really do love your stuff. By the way, Court You Looking,
Oh,
which I
Courtney.
love her. We featured her numerous. Yeah, we featured her numerous times on Instagram as well. She says, love her work. She's a force. And I'm not just saying that because she's my girl.
That's awesome. Hey, Courtney.
So Ellie, now this is another one of those images that just when I saw it, I was like, holy smokes, we got to talk about this because it's so pretty. Uh, Tell us about this shot. This is stunning.
So one thing you should know about me is that I absolutely love to edit. Like it is so soothing to me. I could spend hours editing and sometimes I'll go overboard. I'll admit that. But I just, you know what? I want my photography to stand out, not just for pictures, but for art. Like,
Yeah.
and sometimes you definitely have to go out of your way into different locations, add extra little like the little thing she's holding, the silk cloth thing, and overlays and mirroring. I mean, I do it all. This
Wait, so
image
Ellie,
has it
that
all.
little yeah, wait, so that cloth that she's holding, that wasn't actually in the actual photograph?
Nope, it wasn't.
Wow. That's incredible. I would have never known that. It because the way it is, I mean, even her pose, it looks like she's holding that. That is so cool.
Well, one thing
Um,
is I do a lot of intentional shooting. So I already
uh-huh.
know how I'm going to want to edit afterwards. So I do have them
Yeah.
pose a certain way as well.
My mom, when I was young, she taught me, it was mainly for sports, but she taught me about pre-visualization. So she would tell me before a football game or basketball game, she would tell me to go get my uniform on and then go sit in my room for 30 minutes and turn the lights off. And she would just say, just pre-visualize how you're going to play, what you're going to do, how you're going to hit the ball, how you're going to shoot the basket. And it was one of those skills that I'm so fortunate that she taught me because it was one of those things that I was able to just imagine seeing it. And I imagine this is kind of how you're doing this. You go out there and you're pre-visualizing how you're going to edit, what you're going to put in her hands. I mean, that kind of stuff. Is that right?
Yes, absolutely.
So cool. So
And
how did you like this one?
this was used with the mag box as well, with two 8200s.
Okay. And it looks
Just
like
just
she's
one light.
almost up towards it, sort of. So it must have been camera right. Is that right?
Yes, yes.
And now you said the veil was added. Are the flares and stuff, is that added in post as well?
Yeah, the flare is also added. Hmm.
So cool. And what a beautiful setting as well.
It's a beautiful place to begin with. And it is a creek, it is water, there's rocks all over. So the ground is very much like that.
Yeah.
I love going there for these type of photo sessions.
And what was the main purpose of this shot? Was this a stylized shoot or
It
wedding
was a
shoot or what was?
yeah, this was a styled shoot. I like doing a lot of styled shoots just to kind of push like the romantics in a wedding. Because I love getting the bride after the wedding as well and showing them like, look, we can do some more with your dress.
Yeah.
And luckily they like the idea, and I love doing styled shoots. They're so much fun.
Yeah. Well, you do an amazing job, and it is certainly a beautiful photograph. So love
Thank you.
it. Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that one. And then there's two here that I wanted to share. In fact, let me just go through them really quickly. I'll show each one, and then we'll look at each one separately. But this one also, is this a stylized shoot as well of some kind?
No, so this is Marie. She's actually a pianist, and
Uh-huh.
she wanted some pictures for her website. So I went to her studio and we just started taking pictures there. Um, she was wearing her engagement ring, and I said, well, we might as well do that too. I can't see
And
a
that could
ring.
possibly.
Yeah, I can't see a ring and not want to photograph it.
That's cool. That's cool. We'll go to that picture here in just a second. I showed it just briefly, but we'll go back to it. Which I love that photograph of the ring too. So she's a pianist, and so what was your lighting on this one then? How did you have your light set up?
Again, so the light is, I think it was like camera left because I was in a really tight spot there. So I had
Uh-huh.
two 8200s as well with the mag box. And it's
Okay.
kind of high pointing down, I believe. And at first I didn't see her glare on the piano, but once I took the picture, I really saw it. And I was like, oh, let's focus on this right here. I got so
Yeah.
excited when I saw that. And I was like, okay, this is going to be a very cool like composition because it almost like makes a triangle there. It looks really creative and artistic. I said, I loved it.
Yeah.
Um,
No, it definitely does. And so that reflection up on the piano, that's the lid of the piano, right? Yeah.
yes,
That's
yes,
so cool. That's really, really cool. So you used the mag box on this one as well?
I did.
Super, super pretty. Let's show everyone really quickly the other one as well. So this is the one where you use the engagement rings.
Yeah.
Um, what a cool way to use the engagement rings though. I love it.
Well, I figured let's personalize it to, what she loves to do.
Yeah. Same thing, same mag box setup.
Yeah, same thing.
That's so
That's
cool.
that's my
So
go-to. It's always Magbox. MAGSPHERE, Magbox.
with Wendy and MAGSPHERE. I love it. By the way, for those who are interested in putting rings on a piano, be careful because I one time put a very thin. See that the wedding ring part of it, the band part of it. Uh, I one time lost two of those. Now I
Oh,
shouldn't say lost, but two of them fell down inside of a grand piano when I was shooting rings on top of a piano, and it took me like an hour to get them out, and it was not fun, and I was super stressed. So yeah.
I did that one time, but on a windowsill on a 2-story building. I put the ring on the window, not realizing there was a little crack in front of it.
Oh
And
no.
one of the rings fell in there. And luckily I had my keys and I was able to dig it out because it got stuck in there. I was so scared.
Isn't that the worst? It's the worst.
Yes.
Yeah. So when that was my first, when I first saw this image, I was like, wow, that's beautiful. Holy smokes, don't lose those rings in the piano. Um, but yeah, it's so, so pretty. Love it.
Thank you.
Um, and then Ellie, I think we are, yes, we're at this last image. And this is the one that I had mentioned that I love. We talked a little bit more about your kind of your editing and stuff. This one just caught my attention. You posted this in the Magmod community, I don't know, maybe 3 months ago or something like that.
A while back.
Um, yeah, it seems like it was about that long. But it really stood out for me because of the editing and the style and even just the shot of this cowboy in the bathtub. So what was your inspiration here and how did you shoot and light this thing?
Well, this was actually the second time that I photographed them. So I already had created a what do you call it? A preset for the first shoot. I just, started playing around with the brushes and I was learning everything in Lightroom, and I created something amazing that works for their particular type of photo shoots.
Uh-huh.
I think it's the leather, the real rustic, atmosphere, the
Yeah,
rundown things around there.
yeah.
So now every time I photograph them, it's ready. The preset is ready to go, and it just works every time.
That's cool. That's cool. So you edited this mainly in Lightroom, is that right?
Yes. Hmm.
It looks like there's a bit more clarity than normal. It looks like you kind of lifted the blacks up, but really beautiful. Was it? We were talking just briefly before we went live. Was it Norman Rockwell that did things like this,
Yes.
kind of paintings like this and stuff? Kind of
Yes.
that old classic life, sitting at the soda shop and things like that. Uh,
Yes.
so what are they using these images for? Like, was this kind of a commercial shoot or just kind of for fun?
Well, this was really just for fun because they do stunt shows. They go to like Calico and do stunt shows. They used to do Knott's Berry Farm, in
Okay.
that little area there. But they're getting older. Hopefully, they're not online. And now it's just for fun, and they love seeing their pictures. They print them. They put them up in their saloons because they have like three in the area now, and it's fun. I actually, these pictures have won me some awards.
Oh, I bet. I bet they're beautiful shots. There's this one here as well, with the it looks like throwing the cards. Now, were the cards? Did you actually capture those cards in flight, or were those added later on as well?
This was like a 9-10 shot deal. So there was a lot of stacking here.
Oh, like composite stacking, like putting photos
Yes.
on top of each other.
It's a
Ah, I got it.
huge composite. I've never done this before, and I just, it was a challenge for me, and it worked. And actually, this image right here, I won a gold medal in one of the international photography contests, best of show.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, it's a beautiful shot, and you can tell that a lot of work must have gone into it because I'm looking through the image trying to find like, okay, where's the mistake that Ellie made? And I don't see it. I don't see it. So it was a big composite. You did an amazing job with it.
Thank you. Yeah, and these guys are great. And I'm actually going to be shooting them pretty soon. They're letting their beards grow again. Like, it's a whole process. It just doesn't happen overnight.
That's really cool. Super, super cool. Well, Ellie, I appreciate that. By the way, there's Oscar Garcia just said blessings to Ellie from the Image One team.
Oh yeah, I love that shop.
Yeah, yeah. Awesome,
Great
awesome.
guy.
So, Ellie, what would you say, how long have you been using Flash and MagMod modifiers and, in your work?
I would say maybe 2 years now.
2 years?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, two
Well,
years.
so I feel like you've come a long way in those 2 years. Is there some piece of advice that you would give to others that maybe are just getting their feet wet? They're kind of at the beginning of that 2 years, step. What would you tell them?
You know what? Just go out and practice. Take your
Mhm.
kids, take anybody, figure out, go out of your comfort zone, and just practice. That's what's going to help you get comfortable with the triggers, with the lights. Um, Really, that's it. It's a matter of just doing it over and over and over, and then you're well on your way.
Yeah, it really is like a muscle that, like any muscle that we want to grow, we got to go out and work it. And I love that because I think it goes back to when you were saying earlier about the kind of the pre-visualizing, you kind of see things ahead of time. If you never go out and practice, then it's hard to imagine what something will look like or how you want to create something, because it's hard to even pre-visualize something if you've never done anything.
Yeah.
So I love that idea of just going out and practicing, and you're doing a lot of that, especially even just in your home and stuff like you were with those cityscapes.
I'm
So
nonstop. Every day, that's like a thing that I do every day. After I said my prayers, thank God for the day. I am okay. What am I going to create today? Like it's a thing I have to do, and
that's
luckily
awesome.
I'm blessed enough to have the time to do it. Because I know,
Well,
right
that's
now, moms have their kids at home, and you're working from home, but you know, you just got to do it.
that's awesome. Yeah, well, no, I think that's great advice, Ellie, and I think you're an inspiration to many people, and that those who watch this and see this will say, you know what, I got to have that Ellie spirit, I got to have that Ellie attitude about me, and just go out there and
Thanks.
do it. So thank you for working so hard and being an inspiration to all of us, and sharing some of your incredible photographs in the Magmod community, and even just being part of these How I Shot It. I always, like I said, I enjoyed seeing your comments, and it looks like we got one more here from Dawn Malone. She says, nonstop! Exclamation point! Exclamation point! Exclamation point!
That's my girl.
So
That's one. She's an amazing photographer as well. And I have
yeah,
another,
that's
yeah,
awesome.
another friend, Gina, who we're always hanging out together. And I'm always like, all right, what are we doing today? What are we doing today?
You know what? You got to surround yourself with good influences, right? You got to, and I think it's important to have that group, because it's kind of like a fire that's burning. Like you get, the logs and the briquettes and everything together in it, and you burn great. But the moment you kind of separate yourself and say, "Oh, I'm just going to do everything by myself," you kind of get extinguished. It's more important to be together and have that flame going. So that's awesome that you have those
Yes.
friends. And Ellie, you're an inspiration. You're awesome. I
Thank
super appreciate
you.
you doing this chat with me. It's been fun, and I've learned a lot, and I feel like I need to up my level of editing. I think you have far surpassed any of my skills when it comes to editing. So I tip my
Well,
hat to you.
thank you kindly.
So again, Ellie, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate this opportunity. Really. Thank you.
Absolutely. And everybody out there that's watching, I appreciate you tuning in to this conversation with Ellie and this How I Shot It. We try to do these weekly. So if there's someone in particular that you think that you would like to recommend that I chat with and show off some of their images, definitely give me a holler. You can find me in the Magmon community, and you can find Ellie in the Magmon community as well. And if you haven't yet followed her on Instagram, be sure to go give her a follow as well. Ellie Burgueño Photography. Is that right?
Yes. And Ellie B. Chico. I might be
Ellie.
rebranding.
I like it. Well, I like Burgueño as well. That's a good name, a good last name. So
Thank you.
thanks everyone. Appreciate